I'm Daniel Fisher here at Sweetwater Sound. Today we're going to talk about the Labyrinth, a parallel generative analog synthesizer. So what is that? Well, one way of saying it is that it's a bunch of really useful analog tools all put into one panel that can work in its own self-contained box, or you can take out 8 screws and it goes right into your rack. It still doesn't tell you what it is. It's kind of a sequencer in that it has 2 sequencers that are each 8 steps. They're calling them bits. The first 8 goes to the top oscillator. The second bits go to the bottom oscillator. The top oscillator is the standard Moog oscillator. And the bottom one is a mod oscillator. In other words, this one is designed to modulate this frequency. So you can do a lot of FM stuff, a lot of crazy sounds, and it's really good for percussive sounds, interesting bass lines. You've also got noise that can be very bright, very dark. It has a noise tone. You can do ring mod on all of this. Your filter, it's a VCF that can be low pass or sweepable through band pass, has full resonance that goes into ringing. You can set the cutoff on that, and then you have several things that can modulate it. You've also got a wave folder. It's a really nice wave folder, which will basically take your wave, and anything that goes above a certain amount comes back underneath. Anything that goes down too far comes back from the top. Kind of like if you remember asteroids, like if it's coming this way, then it comes back up over here. If it comes in over here and goes that way, then it comes back over here if it comes in. So it just basically takes the wave and kind of crunches it into itself, makes interesting sounds. We've got some blending things, so you can blend what's more, the wave folder or the filter. We have a switch that lets you put the order. Do you want it to be wave folder then filter, filter then wave folder, or both of them going simultaneously parallel? All of them are interesting. Now, the thing that makes this different, though, is you don't get to pick the notes of the sequence. But what they're doing is they're taking one element away that you have no control over and giving you a lot of other interesting controls that you can focus on since you're not worrying about the notes. So, for example, you can see it's running right now and it's jumping through these bits, but I have a corruption knob that if I turn that up, the pitches that were predetermined randomly will slowly change depending on how far up you have the corruption knob. If the corruption knob is past 12 o'clock, the rhythm also changes, whether each bit is on or off. You've also got control over whether any bit is on or off with the bit flip button here. You can also change the length of the sequences simply by toggling through the buttons here. And you can do that both to the top and the bottom. Normally, you've got the 2 8-bit sequences, but if you hit change sequence, now you only have 1, but it's 16, and they work on both of the oscillators. But the thing that makes it a musical device is that you can also pick from all of these scales. So this lets you pick which scale the control voltages that are coming from these sources, which, by the way, are -5 to +5. So kind of a standard random Moog voltage set. It's got a 10 volt spread. And if I turn the CV range down, I'll be forced into single notes like this. And then as I turn the CV range up, it gets wider and wider. And right now I'm sequencing into one of the quantized scales. I'm using a chromatic scale right now, but it'll keep it to standard pitches like this. And then if I bring in the other oscillator, you're going to start hearing some of the modulation possibilities. And now to show you what that sounds like with effects, I'm going to turn on the Nemesis delay by Source Audio. I just have it in a very simple left-right ping pong, but that's going to let it build up the complexity of the notes. Now I'm going to turn up the corruption just a little bit, and you'll see it slowly changes over time. And if I turn the corruption past 12 o'clock, then we also get randomization on whether any particular bit is on or not. So just a couple more things that make this really fun to play with live. One is a buffer. Basically, if you find a pattern that you really like, you can hold the button, it'll blink green, and now it's stored. So I can, let's say that's my sound, and I can corrupt it. And then by hitting the buffer button one more time, it goes back to what I had saved. There's only one location, but it's fun to have a home sound that no matter how crazy you get, you can always come back to that sound. Now, in one sense, you could think of this as like the world's coolest executive desk toy, because I've been using it by just setting it on my desk and setting up to be slightly corrupted and then just letting it go. And it's fascinating to hear it change over time. You've got a VCA for each oscillator, only a decay. So it's very, very simple. You're mostly controlling that. You have an EG trigger mix, which allows you to have either the top row stronger than the bottom row, or have them equal, or have the bottom row stronger. You just flip through that. And then finally, you've got all these in and out jacks, which lets you pretty much control any of these knobs up here, and it lets you take the voltage outs from all of the sources, the oscillators, triggers, different things like that. All right, so now I'm just going to start goofing with this thing. On and off, I'll be using the Nemesis delay. You can tell when it's on by the green light here. I'm also using the KeyStep Pro sometimes. I'm just taking voltage out, sometimes to move the oscillator pitches, sometimes to use the slider to change the rates of different things. But in all cases, you're not hearing anything other than this and sometimes the Nemesis. Well, clearly an interesting instrument and source of inspiration. If you have any further questions about the Labyrinth by Moog, the Nemesis Delay by Source Audio, or the Keystep Pro by Arturia, please contact your Sweetwater sales engineer. My name is Daniel Fisher. Thank you very much for watching.